Beyond the Black Rims. I'm Mars Girl.
I'm Josh Knight the First.
This is Season 8, Episode 19.
Or Episode 185 if you're counting.
Thank you, as always. Oh, thank you for subscribing, Gumpsy kind of guy. Thought you'd been around for a while, but thank you. And thank you to the Patreon contributors over at patreon.com/MarsGirl who make this show and all kinds of other stuff we do plenty possible. Just released last couple of days. Finally, that stuff all about stuff we brought back from Mexico.
Yes.
So candy and drinks
the
and
drugs.
stuff. Yeah. And the drugs, but these are good drugs. It's penicillin.
Oh, I wasn't supposed to talk about the drugs on air. Okay, got it.
No, it's penicillin. It's penicillin.
We were helping orphans with diseases.
That require penicillin.
That require penicillin.
And thank you for the host, as always, John, as well. So, yeah, those were just a couple of videos that just went up for the Patreon contributors, so thank you very much for that. And lots more stuff coming up in the near future. What's going on, Josh?
I'm tired.
Yeah, we're both really tired.
Because we had a full week last week. Or last weekend. As some of you might have noticed, we were not on the air last week because we were on the road to Chicago to take part in G-Fest 24.
24, yeah.
And that was a thing. Never been before to this kaiju embracing convention. We got to meet a lot of cool people. Got to see Matt again from over at Monstrosities.
Yes, very, very cool to see him again, as we don't really get to see each other very often. Lucky if it's once a year, typically.
Yes.
You know? So that might have been our once a year right there.
Oh, we'll try and increase that.
Yeah, I hope we can increase that. So I was there also doing work for Tokusatsu Network.
That you were.
And I'm hoping to get sent out very soon video footage of a brief interview that I did with Shin Godzilla co-director Shinji Higuchi. The fact that I did it at all kind of blew my mind, and that I was speaking to him in Japanese and somehow not totally blowing everything. Blew it a little bit. Didn't totally blow it, but I did it, and that's a thing that I have done now.
Yes.
And I thought I was gonna die.
You interviewed the director of Shin Godzilla, the co-director of Shin Godzilla.
Yeah, I did. Otherwise, man, I didn't expect G-Fest to be nearly as large as it is. Maybe in attendance is what I mean.
As far as attendance goes, as far as the hotel goes, it was a bit crowded.
Which is, to be fair, you know, that's kind of true of fan-organized cons of any variety, really. That's the hotel space you're given. I think it'll take a little bit before they increase to a bigger hotel space, but man, that's a good crowd.
Oh,
good crowd at that event. Yeah.
What was very interesting too was getting to see Shin Godzilla there with Shinji Higuchi in attendance. That was an experience in and of itself. There's a beautiful theater there in the outskirts of Chicago where we got to see it. Only one screen, but it was an old classic, like 1940s era theater. Just beautiful architecture. I should probably post a picture on Twitter so that way you guys can look at it.
It's pretty cool.
I did post that video from inside the theater because the roof kind of looks like the tapestry from the beginning of Kamen Rider Agito. But no, it was great going out there. We had a lot of fun.
Drove 18 hours.
Drove 18 hours.
In one direction.
Going and coming.
18 hours in the other direction. So that was hard.
Yeah, that was a little rough, but we've done it before.
Yeah.
Now, some of you are wondering, you know, yes, we did unfortunately have to say goodbye to Shinji, but while we were there at G-Fest, we did manage to pick up a new mascot.
Oh, did we?
Yes, we did.
Oh, is it this guy?
It's this guy.
Are you considering... You're considering him to be our new mascot now?
We need a new kaiju mascot.
Okay, well, this is...
Or kaijin in his case.
Yeah, so this is Pigmon. He's a reoccurring Ultraman character, and really, all things technically speaking, he is technically Gabumon, or Garamon, excuse me.
Yeah.
He's technically Garamon from Ultra Q, which only had 13 episodes, but then they reused his suit
over and over again
to become Pigmon throughout the Ultraman franchise.
People think he's creepy. Make sure you get him right up in the camera.
He's a little creepy looking, but if you actually watch him in any of the Ultraman series, you come to find that he's very peaceful. He loves children.
Yes.
So, Brian
Lee.
Lee, thank Thank you for that follow. So it doesn't matter how creepy he is. He makes adorable noises, and he loves children, and he's totally misunderstood, and people keep trying to kill him even though he hasn't done anything wrong.
Yes.
So that is the poor beast's plight, which is why I'm so fond of him. He's a very kind kaijin. He's a very kind kaijin.
So y'all say hi to Pigmon. He'll be sticking around for a while.
I guess. You decided this just now.
No, we talked about it before.
No,
the show.
we did not.
I totally sprayed it
He
on.
didn't say
Okay,
anything.
so, yes, that having been said, do we have anything else to talk about?
Right this second? No, except for maybe what's coming up a little bit later on in the show.
Yeah, we should talk about that.
Yeah, so a little bit later on, we're going to be talking about multiple different events that have been happening back to back over these last couple of weekends. Last week was D23, and stuff happened at D23. And there's no way we're going to be able to cover everything from this weekend and previous weekend, but we're gonna try and get through a bunch of stuff and talk about a bunch of things that were listed off, and whether or not it's gonna be cool. Some of it might be cool. Some of it might not be cool. I don't know.
We'll see about that.
We'll see about that.
The second story of the evening, which broke while we were on the road to G-Fest, and you know we'd be right on top of it, we got our first official look at the design for our newest rider, Kamen Rider Build. We also know how quickly he'll be coming to us, so we'll talk to you guys about the date he'll be debuting, as well as some of his powers, some of which are really... we got words.
Yeah, we have concerns, in fact. And then finally, what has already started and is happening throughout this next weekend is San Diego Comic-Con. So some stuff has already happened, and we can talk about some stuff that has in fact already happened. That includes like the Netflix panel
from earlier today.
And then there's more stuff coming, so we can talk about excitement for what we're going to see a little bit later on throughout the week.
A lot of that.
Yes. But before that, I know you've got follow-ups for me, as you always do.
Yes, I do.
So please tell me about them.
Okay, so since it's San Diego Comic-Con, full-blown Justice League, let's get it up there.
Why do you do this to me?
Because I'm torturing you.
I know.
So yes, that's something we will be looking forward to at San Diego Comic-Con. We are told that we will be getting a new trailer for Justice League this weekend during DC's panel, so we should be expecting that within the next 48 hours. I imagine it will make its way to the internet very quickly, because if WB doesn't, we will hunt them down and pull it out ourselves.
Yeah, that just happens.
That's just going to happen.
The leaks are going to get out, so you may as well just give them to us in the first place.
In other Batman-related news, Telltale Games unveiled that they are doing Season 2 of the Batman Telltale series. This round, we're going to be dealing with the Riddler as one of the primary antagonists, as well as John Doe, who's basically the proto-Joker. He's there in Arkham Asylum and hasn't fully put on his outfit yet, hasn't gotten any lipstick on, but it's Joker. It's absolutely Joker. But for any of you who enjoyed the first season, the second season will be available on August 8th. It's my birthday. So I'll be making sure to play that myself. I'm glad I got a copy, thanks to you.
But you just watched the whole thing on YouTube and then you didn't play it.
I'm gonna play it.
Alright.
I'm happy to have it, thank you. I'm trying to compliment you.
We'll talk about this later.
Okay. Alright. And in other Batman-related or not quite Batman-related news, we have this picture as a promo for the next upcoming season of Gotham over on Fox. The thing about it is now they're trying to push so hard that Bruce is getting to his Batman state before he has the real training he needs. It just...
But no. What we need to talk about is that the name of this season is Dawn of Night, which is a stupid
No, it's a dumb name. It's a dumb name. Like
the night is breaking into daylight.
Dawn of Justice?
No,
is that what you're going for?
No. It doesn't work. They thought too hard. Or
maybe they didn't think hard enough.
I don't know, Josh.
It's just a thing.
Why are we still talking about this?
Don't talk about it anymore. Get it out of there.
Thank you.
Okay, so moving on to some Marvel news, some of which we'll cover later on. But for right now, let's go ahead and talk about the Defenders. So the Defenders panel is going to be tomorrow. They're at Comic-Con. We got this promo art, this sweet promo art ahead of the panel. They're looking for people there at San Diego Comic-Con who are cosplaying as some of the Defenders to meet up for a photo op there with some of the cast members. Moving on to some other news that apparently just broke a moment ago. So the Legion showrunner over at FX has gone on record as saying the next movie project that he's working on is Doctor Doom.
Okay, I hope it's by himself. Mostly.
I can only hope, because up to this point, we have never really gotten an accurate Doctor Doom. We've gotten elements of a Doctor Doom. There was something about Julian McMahon's performance that kind of seemed like Doctor Doom. Even Toby Kebbell, to a certain extent, almost got it, and then the rest of the movie happened. So he had like a minute where he could have been Doctor Doom. And then, of course, there's the Roger Corman movie, where at least we got the look of Doctor Doom, but we've never had a Doctor Doom that was actually scary, because he is supposed to be imposing and fearful. Or not fearful. People are fearful of him.
Yeah.
So I can only hope that it is actually a solo movie and that it's not connected to the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, because we're done trying with the Fantastic Four, I think. Like, I think people have been burned a little too much, and we need some time before they ever start to try again. And
admittedly, with what they've done for Legion, I can only hope they pay that much love and attention to Doctor Doom. Okay, so moving on to some Spider-Man news, specifically for the sequel to Homecoming. Director John Watts is currently in talks to direct the sequel. So it would be nice to see him pick up from where he left off here in Homecoming.
Cool.
Again, they have confirmed it will not be called something stupid like Homecoming 2.
That would be
They'll be
dumb.
revealing more of that information later on, maybe even later this weekend. But we're looking forward to seeing all this information as it comes forward.
Great.
Okay, so moving on to sci-fi news. So we got a new trailer for Blade Runner 2049, showing more of the story there, starring Harrison Ford and Ryan Gosling. I can at least say for this trailer that it feels more like Blade Runner.
A little bit more
than the teaser did.
Well, the teaser is just a teaser. It didn't nearly give enough information, which was to be expected. So, yeah, more Blade Runner in this Blade Runner movie. That's fine with me.
And then we got our first look at actor Dave Bautista there in the movie. You were actually... I don't think you recognized him there for a second.
For a second, but then I realized what I was looking at, yeah.
What you were looking at, not who?
He's not a real person. He's a character.
Okay, yes.
He's...
You were expecting him to Bautista bomb
That's not
Ryan
a
Gosling.
human being.
Well, maybe he's not. Maybe he's a replicant.
Oh, he might be. You're right.
That's entirely possible.
Yeah, it's very possible, yeah.
Okay, so moving on to some other sci-fi news. The other big news out this weekend from the BBCs, we have confirmation of the 13th Doctor making history. Jodie Whittaker was announced as the first female Doctor there in Doctor Who. Now, of course, this came to very... loud responses from the internet, from people all over the world, but many people in support of this. People have been asking for a female Doctor for many, many years now, and now we've got this from Jodie Whittaker, who of course has been in Attack the Block, over on Broadchurch, with a lot of other Doctor Who actors and actresses. A lot of people upset by it, and I tell those people, shut the hell up. Let her do her job. She's a great actress. Quality work.
I think she'll be very competent regardless of what gender she may be. Yeah, so totally.
Because admittedly, she wasn't a lot of people's first choice, but she's a very competent choice.
Yes.
So admittedly, this gives me more reason to catch up on Capaldi's last season, so I can see the transition to her as the Doctor, most likely here in the Christmas special later on this year.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on to some
exciting.
other news. This other bit of news coming up earlier today from the Hollywood Reporter, saying that directing team Henry Joost and Ariel Schulman, who have directed Paranormal Activity 3 specifically, are in talks to direct a Mega Man movie.
Oh, I did hear whispers about this, yeah.
So the idea of a Mega Man movie still scares me, because we still don't have a proven track record with video game adaptations in film.
We've also had a kind of fan film come out. Like,
that it wasn't.
You remember that thing?
It wasn't.
You remember
good.
that thing?
I remember that good. I know
You
BMX.
remember that good?
I know motocross armor when I see it. It wasn't that good.
Yeah. Okay.
So we can only hope this is looking up. Kind of going along with that over with the movie is actor / producer now Masi Oka, who is currently producing for Death Note, is said to be attached to the project as well. And I'm starting to think now that Masi Oka is like the nerd cred card that everybody shows. Like Netflix announces they're doing Death Note. Oh, it's gonna be terrible. No, Masi Oka's working on it. Oh, he's a nerd. He can vouch.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how this is starting to feel when they say Masi Oka's attached to produce. I mean,
That's
great
what
on
it feels
him.
like, yeah.
I mean, great on him for doing that, attaching himself to projects he cares about, But I wonder sometimes that if that's not proven beyond a certain point, then...
Well, yeah, if for some reason Death Note fails, and if Mega Man fails, then his credibility goes out the window. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see as soon as Death Note finally drops.
Which we'll talk more about in a little bit. And over on a little bit more sci-fi news, we got our first look at Pacific Rim Uprising today, and we have this photo to show you of all the different Jaegers here upgraded for the movie. 7 in total. We just got a little bit of footage there with the voice of GLaDOS, and then our first look at John Boyega in suit there piloting a Jaeger. I'm hyped. I'm so ready for this movie. I'm so ready to see these Jaegers in action. It's everything I wanted.
I wish that teaser was more than just, you know, obviously a sort of enlisting sort of recruitment kind of a video. I wanted to see more of what this world continues to look like,
of course,
10 years later, which I know you're saying there's been some plot that's been revealed now?
Yes, the plot is just that 10 years have passed since the events of the first movie, so people have decided, or the Earth, rather, has decided to keep up and reinvigorate the Jaeger program because they know at some point the kaiju will return and they want to be ready. Now, in this particular circumstance, it works better than that plot in Independence Day Resurgence, where it's like, no, we're going to use this technology and we're going to be ready. No, we didn't need that sequel. We want this sequel.
Right, exactly.
So we've got that. Over with a little bit of Nickelodeon news, we got our first look at the Rocko's Modern Life TV movie earlier today. A little 2-minute piece of animation that looks so amazingly like it came from the 90s.
It's Rocko's Modern Life. I mean, I don't know what more anybody could ask for.
No, this is literally, like, to a certain extent, because I was laughing, I wanted to cry because I was so happy. It looks almost exactly like the original.
Yeah,
it sounds the same. They got all the same voice actors back. It looks the same. The humor's the same. And it was only 2 minutes, and I want the rest right now.
Yeah, I mean, and it's modern, so it's accurate to its title.
Yes.
So, it's doing exactly what it needs to do. So, good on you, Nickelodeon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Alright, so moving over to some Power Ranger reboot news. So over the weekend, Power Rangers debuted over in Japan. This was something we were looking forward to seeing as to how Japanese audiences would react to the movie. It opened in 9th place.
That's kind of painful.
That's kind of painful. It didn't do very well.
No, it sure didn't.
Everything else under the sun beat it, just about.
There's a lot of super Power Rangers hardcore fans who are going, "Why Japan? I don't understand why you didn't like it." I mean,
it wasn't their movie.
Yeah, I hate to break it to you, but Power Rangers, to an extent, is not Super Sentai. Never mind the fact that all of these trailers and advertisements that they kept releasing in Japan were trying to make it look more like Super Sentai than it actually was, because it was barely Power Rangers as far as in suit and fighting and robots were concerned.
Right.
So, like, you can only stretch the truth so far, man.
Yeah, you can only lie to yourself so far, and then somebody's got to pay the check.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on to some other news here, some Tokusatsu news. We have word today of a new Garo film coming out, which we have a picture of here, with most of the cast of Garo, the One Who Shines in Darkness, returning. Kami no Kiba will continue the story of Ryuga Dogai, the bearer of the Garo armor there in that particular series. All of the returning actors there, Junya Ikeda there, Masahiro Inoue, they're all coming back very happy to return to their roles. I can't wait to see this. That was actually one of my favorite seasons out of Garo, when you're dealing with somebody who's not Koga.
Yes.
So it's a good time for Garo right now. We're going to be seeing this later on in the year.
Oh, the Blu-rays are coming out very soon, right?
Very soon. Actually, we were seeing, while we were there at G-Fest, advertisements for the legal streaming of Garo.
Yes.
So that's also an option for those of you who are just looking to get into it. When you have the option, do support the official release. Moving on to some other news, we got our announcement here that Power Morphicon has announced their dates for next year. It will be next August. So for those of you not able to attend Japan World Heroes, it's the same people who run it. So next year, August 17th through 19th, out there in Pasadena, California. Go ahead and make your travel plans now. They have already announced their first guest, and it's Jason David Frank.
I mean, to be expected, I guess.
To be expected.
We only have so many words that we can repeat. about
Yes.
Jason David Frank. So
Yes.
we will leave it at that. Yeah.
And that's it. That's all of our follow-ups.
No, it's not. You totally skipped over a thing that you sent to me.
Oh, yes. How could I forget? This was something that came up earlier in the week. So Atari is back in the news with this new console that they're looking to produce, which apparently, as we're understanding, is a mix of old games and newer...
Possibly. So this is the Atari box. We know that it's got HDMI. We know that, it's probably going to emulate stuff, but they're talking about releasing new stuff on it, so maybe you can download new things on it, but why would they do that and not put it on any of the other current-gen consoles? They're saying it's not out there to compete with things like the NES and SNES Mini, because they already have their own plug-and-play consoles.
Right.
Atari, you've seen
yes,
Atari's
you can actually see those
plug-and-play
at dollar stores.
Yeah.
Or Toys R Us.
Exactly, so we don't know what the hell this thing is, thus the reason why it's not a full story. Otherwise it would have been.
Yeah, because we've covered older companies bringing back plug-and-play items, such as, like you're saying, the SNES and NES Classic. It would be nice for Atari to do this. I mean, really, I like the look of it, trying to modernize the feel of an original Atari, which you do have an original Atari,
I
right?
have a ColecoVision that also has the plug-in adapter for the Atari 2600, so my ColecoVision can play both ColecoVision games and Atari 2600 games. Unfortunately, I do not actually own an official Atari 2600.
So yes, we'll keep an eye on this as it develops. It'll be interesting to see what exactly they do with it, because it's a nice case.
Yeah, it's kind of cool looking.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm going to get that out of here.
Alright, get that out of here. Alright, so that's all of our follow-ups of the evening. Let's go ahead and start with our first story, covering everything that was happening at D23 this weekend.
That's like the logo for it and stuff?
That's the logo.
That's what that looks like.
You guys know what's
up.
Yeah. Over at D23 this weekend, there were a couple of things to be announced, to be celebrated. Some of them were some awards that were given out. One posthumously given to Carrie Fisher for all of her work, as well as Jack Kirby for all of his work with Marvel. The two people that were there to accept their awards were, of course, Mark Hamill and Stan Lee. Both of them very happy to be honored by Disney for all of their work that they've done.
Of course.
Mark, of course, being very much the hammy kind of guy that he is, making all the big gestures to the audience. Oh, you guys love me so much. I love you guys back. I never thought I'd be up here. Stan Lee, of course, very much himself, but still a tiny bit somber, given his things that have been happening with him lately. But he was very thankful, stating that when he was a child, he went out of his way to make sure he could afford an art book of Disney when he was a kid, and that helped inspire him to do the work he would eventually do with Marvel.
That's pretty cool, yeah.
The thing about it, too, that really moved a lot of people was the fact that for the Jack Kirby honoring video that they had there, that kind of moved him to tears. Thank you guys, he was saying, for honoring Jack Kirby like that. But of course, the two of them collaborating together back in the early days of Marvel to make all of these classic characters that we're watching movies of now. So going along with that, we got news about Infinity War.
Yes.
Because of course that's a Disney property now. They're owned.
Marvel is owned by Disney.
Yes.
That's what you're trying to say.
So Infinity War has officially finished filming. So they're taking a break right now. They had just about all of the actors there on stage, save for, say, Chris Evans as Captain America. And they did show footage, but we didn't get to see it. Just the people there did. But apparently,
that's typical.
It's insane. Showing all of these things of Thanos coming to Earth, the Guardians flying through space, and then Thor smacks into their windshield like a bug, and they have to pull him in. We're told that there's teases of Peter developing a spider sense, since they kind of downplayed that in Homecoming, and now in this movie, it's, a development of his powers. He's still growing into them.
Right, that makes sense.
But there's the tale of a large fight between Thanos and a lot of the Avengers there, Iron Man, Doctor Strange, some of the Guardians, trying to defeat Thanos, and he's already got 2 of the Infinity Stones. And every description that I've heard of this like, people are wetting their pants, people are going into doomsday bunkers because they can't take it, like, it's too much.
I'm concerned that they're gonna overhype it for when we finally see it.
I'm a little worried about that myself, too.
Because, you know, it's the hype of being there. We just got back from G-Fest, where we were in the middle of the hype of being there watching Shin Godzilla in front of Shinji Higuchi, who made Shin Godzilla.
Right.
People get really excited over this guy figured out how to fold origami, and the audience were, yeah! Woo!
Well, this isn't the same thing as folding origami. This is world bringing together. This is the culmination of 10 years.
I understand that. What I'm telling you is that crowds will cheer for anything if they're in hype mode. And so if origami folding can get a woo, then imagine the way over hype of something that actually means more than the folding origami.
I'm just saying this is a little cooler than folding origami.
Yeah, I understand that.
So hopefully we'll get to see what this footage actually is sometime soon. People are chomping at the bit. People very jealous of those people who got to be there and see that presentation.
Like you.
Like me.
Like you.
So aside from that, you know, going back to having Mark Hamill there, they did display some footage and had some actors there from Star Wars The Last Jedi. And they also unveiled this nice 3-minute behind-the-scenes footage of the filming there of The Last Jedi.
It was pretty cool. I would say that it doesn't really reveal anything too overt.
Which is good.
Yeah, it was very good. There are plenty of little shots here and there of Carrie Fisher, so you can just see how happy and well-loved she was and how she was getting along with the rest of the cast at that point in time. So they didn't linger on her or anything, which was good. I didn't necessarily think that was the place. But yeah, you get the sense that this is going to mean something.
Well, it's also...
It means something.
It's also nice to see some of the new additions to the cast. You see Laura Dern there with her purple hair.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't think she's a senator. I forget what exactly they said she was. But she's a new character added on there. We see Benicio del Toro there. We see these stormtroopers with these new, like, claw staffs.
Right.
Like Death Scythe Hell. And I'm like, oh, man. Like, why do y'all keep redesigning the stormtroopers in ways that I want to be? Like,
exactly.
And, you know, looking very intimidating there, showing some of the new cast. We see Finn there, John Boyega in a flight suit. So it looks like he might be getting behind the wheel of an X-Wing.
Right, because X-Wings have wheels.
Or flight stick, fine.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
This is very important, Josh.
Okay.
This is an incredibly important detail.
So yes, we're looking forward to more footage there from The Force Awakens as that develops. We got some information on Wreck-It Ralph Breaks the Internet, as well as The Incredibles 2. We've, of course, been told that The Incredibles 2 starts off where the last one ended, just minutes after the first movie ends, with the Underminer, played by John Ratzenberger, there showing up and threatening the Pars.
I think that's pretty cool, yeah.
And then for Wreck-It Ralph Breaks the Internet, for some reason, I didn't quite catch the context, you know, because we're trying to get all this information in. They're bringing back something like 10 Disney princesses for the movie, and they got them all individually to come back and voice their character.
Huh, that's interesting, yeah.
So, you have Belle, Merida, Pocahontas,
Jasmine.
Jasmine,
yeah.
They all came back to voice this, to be there with Vanellope, who of course is played by Sarah Silverman. So that's pretty cool that they were able to get back all those Disney princesses.
Yeah, well, Vanellope's a princess, right?
Yeah, she counts as a princess.
There you go. That's why it's happening.
Yes.
That is exactly why it's happening.
And the other big thing, which I know you're waiting to talk about, was the unveil of this footage for Kingdom Hearts 3, as well as at least a soft date of 2018 for release.
Yeah, you know, I'm not mad at it. I feel like any excitement I might have had, that excitement was years ago, and now seeing stuff is like, oh, that's good. That's good. But I mean, to be fair, thank you, Woody Face. Thank you, John.
Well timed.
To be fair, I'm gonna be totally fair with them and say, no, this looks well crafted. It looks like they've done their work on this, and that's good. And it looks like it came straight out of a Toy Story film.
Yes, it does.
Which makes total sense because video game console technology has moved that far now that Square is able to do that. It looks great. And then there's all kinds of new fight choreography,
new fight
mechanics, yeah, that are like suddenly Sora's got like a toy rocket drill fist. That's a thing that he can do, or pilot little toy robot mechs. That's a thing that he can also do. So like that all looks really cool. My concern is that since they spend so much time focusing on showing us nothing but Toy Story 3. Did they spend an extended amount of time on this Toy Story 3 world, and what else?
Actually,
what
that's
else?
not entirely accurate, and some of you guys know what I'm talking about here, and I forgot to tell you before the show, so it'll be nice to see your reaction. They've gone on record there at Square as saying the events that happen here in Kingdom Hearts 3 happen in between Toy Story 2 and Toy Story 3, as far as those movies are concerned, so this game is canon to the story of Toy Story.
Yeah, why didn't you tell me that?
We were busy getting prepped, so that's an actual thing.
I mean, that's fine, that's fine. Well, that further makes me, like, I'm not even mad.
Uh-huh.
I'm kind of not even mad that Sora is now canon to Toy Story. It's just weird. That's just weird. What I'm upset about is that, yeah, I further feel like they must have spent a lot of time talking to Disney and making sure that this could be canon, and my concern is that yeah, they say 2018, but they probably mean like December, okay? Like
pushing
they're
it
not
out as far as possible.
They're not. I don't care how polished Toy Story World looks. I need everything else, and I need to know that your actual rest of Kingdom Hearts 3 story is actually written and completed, and I'm not convinced of that yet. But if I could just play the Toy Story 3 world, I mean, it looks fun. To me, it legitimately does, and I will give them that benefit and that credit.
Yes.
I will not get that mad at them. They just still don't have my confidence yet.
They have to regain your confidence.
They really have. They have a long way to climb.
Now,
to get
admittedly,
that back.
you were saying that you were a bit upset at the fact that we're still hearing old tracks.
Yeah, none of that music
EGM.
in that trailer was new music. It's all old Kingdom Hearts music from a decade or more ago. It's all old, so I'm still, like, we're still sitting and waiting for stuff to be completed. So yeah. Yeah, thank you, John. We've got a Cloud Amiibo coming out very soon. That's the thing right there.
Yes.
You can buy that later.
But that having been said, you know, I'm happy for what I'm seeing here. Out of the Toy Story 3 world. Yes, it does look accurate to the movies, which is great. The Japanese voice actors sound pretty close to their counterparts. This is just something I never really thought about, because...
thank you, MXZen3, for that follow. Appreciate that very much. Please go ahead.
It's just something I never really thought about, because I've heard Japanese Mickey Mouse several times.
Yeah.
And he still sounds like Mickey Mouse. Ohio!
And so does Donald, to me.
Well, see, the thing about it is Goofy sounds like Goofy still, Daijobu desu ka? You know, but Donald, his duck sound is so thick in Japanese, I can't understand a word he's saying.
Yeah, but I don't see why you have a problem with that when that's exactly how he sounds in English. You
No,
can't understand
I
Donald
can understand
in
him in English.
I can't.
I can.
Well, that's because you grew up with a dad that speaks English, but not. Like, you can't understand your dad.
And he also does a good Donald Duck
So you have to
impersonation.
listen through English that doesn't sound like words at home, so you're more easily attuned to listening to Donald Duck in English.
I get that you're jealous that my dad can do a good Donald Duck impression and yours can't, alright? I get it. That's fine. But besides that, like, it was just really hard to understand. And admittedly, yeah, from the footage we got before, Japanese Hades, which wasn't featured in this, sounds exactly like James Woods.
And he always has ever since the first game. It's amazing. It's totally fantastic, yeah.
So hopefully we'll get some more footage, some more plot, something more solid than just 2018 out of Kingdom Hearts 3.
One day. We'll see.
One day, hopefully.
Before we kind of wrap up the D23 stuff, it was also mentioned back before then, we were hearing the panel about A Wrinkle in Time.
Yes, that was also covered as well.
And that Mary Poppins
And Mary
sequel.
Poppins Returns. So we got the teaser.
Thank you, MJ, for that donation also. Want to make sure that we got that in too.
So yes, we did get a little bit of information about Mary Poppins Returns. Of course, the Wrinkle in Time was also demonstrated there. A little bit of footage there. We had Chris Pine, Reese Witherspoon, and Oprah Winfrey there. I just thought it was nice that, yeah, Oprah's there, and she couldn't help being Oprah.
Well, yeah, that, and you know she thought she was so cute and clever for plaguing her own character and being self-aware of it.
Yeah.
What was she giving out?
Well, it was just posters, Wrinkle in Time posters.
And you get a poster, and you get a poster, everybody gets a poster. Oh.
She was parodying herself.
She was parodying herself, and when you do that, then you know the meme is over. She killed her own meme. You can't do that anymore. It's over.
Yeah, but that having been said...
Except for bees!
No, we still got bees.
We still got bees, yeah.
Yeah, but even then, like, who doesn't want Oprah to just show up and say, hey, you got free stuff?
That's true.
Now the thing about it was, this wasn't Oprah-level free stuff. This was something that people figured they were going to get. Like, a poster. Yeah, we got a poster.
No, they just made her play up herself. That's all.
No, see, if it was Oprah show Oprah, it'd be like, you get Chris Pine, you get Chris Pine, everybody gets Chris Pine! Yeah, just like that, that photo there.
I don't know how green screens
this
work.
Way. No, other way. There you go. Yeah, you're pointing that way. Okay.
I don't know how green screens work. I sit in front of a green screen almost every day. I don't know how green screens work.
You poor thing.
There we go. I got it.
All right, there you go.
I got this.
You got it. Okay, so that's all of our coverage for D23. Let's go ahead and move on to our second story, which of course was something that came up just this past Friday. Our first look at Kamen Rider Build.
Yeah, so that's a guy. I understand what you have been saying to me about, well, his suit design looks pretty cool. I get that. He does look pretty cool if you think that he's just got a color scheme. You know, if he just has a red and blue color scheme, okay, if that was all he was, fine by me. That's not what his theme is, though.
Well, okay, let's go ahead and break this down here. I don't know if you can scoot a little more so we can show a little bit more of the chest area there. So what you're looking at here is... Now, come back. Okay, so what you're looking at here in the middle of the screen is the base form for Kamen Rider Build. Now, aesthetically speaking, red and blue heroes, you know, that's something we've had since, you know, Kikaider back in the day. Now, that does line up with, if I recall correctly, this year's the 45th... This is the 45th anniversary of Kikaider and also the 30th anniversary of Metalder, who of course was a Kikaider throwback. So the design there being red and blue kind of makes sense in terms of Tokusatsu history. Now, the thing that you get into a problem with is, yes, there's a very kind of almost Kamen Rider double-esque feel to the design there.
Sure.
And if you're not thinking about it too hard, yeah, that's what it looks like. It looks really cool. But then we have to tell you what the actual theme is. So that form is called Kamen Rider Build Tank Rabbit. So I don't know if you guys can see here. There on the right side of his face, this is a tank. You know, there's the tank,
because you can
and then
totally
here's
see a tank.
And then on the other side over here is a rabbit. You know, there's the face and then the ear. That is not a joke. That is literally what his base form theme is.
Well, right behind you over here is are the bottles, the red and blue bottles that look more like game fuel. Okay, that are tank and rabbit themed. And so for like, I don't know who decided that a rabbit and a tank were a good combination of things, but they didn't stop there.
No, they didn't.
That's the problem. Now I don't have any more pictures other than this one right now, so you're just gonna have to believe us when we say that these combinations of stuff are things that this character is based on and are powers that he will utilize in combination with each other as if they make any sense together.
Like Gorilla Diamond, Comic Book Ninja, Fire Hedgehog. And the thing about it is, with the exception of a few of these forms, which there are pictures of now in high quality, they actually don't look too bad as far as the execution of the form as far as a suit goes, but the powers themselves are very almost Kamen Rider Forze-esque in that they just don't go together.
It's just stuff.
It's just stuff.
He's just stuff. The guy.
Yeah, this is what you've officially dubbed him.
The guy. I really don't understand. Because what is the plot of this, and what does this have to do with Build? What does this have to do with the namesake of the series? Because Double made sense because it was two dudes.
Yes.
Okay? And Double is the pronunciation in Japanese of the letter W.
Right.
Dabudu.
It's
two. It's two dudes, okay? Like, stuff like that makes sense. What is Build here?
So
What is
we
Build
don't have a
here?
picture of it here to show you guys, but the transformation device here for Build is called, as you would figure, the Build Driver. So what you'll do is these two bottles, which are right here behind my head, what you'll
Just
do...
point over your own head.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah.
So you'll set the two bottles into the driver, and there is a crank on the side of the belt, as was kind of revealed in the silhouette of Build before we actually got to see him. You crank the belt, it drains out the fluid out of the bottles, and that's how you transform.
So what does that have to do with Build?
We don't know.
And don't we have a little bit of plot too?
Yes, it's mentioning something about people being destroyed and people's souls being kept in bottles, which we're going to need more clarification on the closer we get to the debut of Build, which we should go ahead and talk about. So it was also revealed that over this last week, yes, thank you, Destroyer Hero, there's your look at the driver there, the Build driver. I hate the clunky drivers. I really do.
Yeah.
I love the design. Hate the clunky driver. I can say that right now. That design is pretty kick-ass. But that belt, I just...
It's so busy
What
and
is
full of,
it?
it's just full of stuff. It's not even asymmetrical. Granted, the belts haven't been asymmetrical for a while. Although the driver is a pretty asymmetrical.
No, it was pretty symmetrical.
That's
You wanna
what I
talk
mean.
about
That's what I mean. Symmetrical.
Asymmetrical was like Forza.
Oh, like this, right, for example, is pretty asymmetrical. That's what
Yeah.
I meant. I got it backward, flip that, reverse it. The driver was nice and clean and symmetrical.
Yes.
The Forza driver was a little off. It was really big
I call
and
that
ugly.
one, I call it the
but-
play school driver.
Of course it's the play school driver, but at least the only thing that's asymmetrical about it is where it's got, like, the thing, where you pull the thing to do the
Yeah.
thing. This has a couple of things, and then a circle thing, and then a crank thing, and then an extra bottle thing, and then... It's stuff the guy.
Stuff the guy.
Stuff the guy.
Now, to go ahead and talk about when we're actually going to see Build in action, from what we've been told over the past week, so it turns out that Kamen Rider Ex-8 only has 6 more episodes to go. That they'll be ending around episode 45, and that the last episode will be a crossover episode introducing Build, just like it was done with Ex-8 with
They've been
Ghost
doing
previously.
that for a while, yeah.
So it looks like Build will see debut in September, as opposed to Ex-8, which debuted in October of last year. So we're going to be getting him a lot quicker than we thought we would. A lot of people who are fans of Kamen Rider Ex-8 right now were under the impression, myself included, that we'd get about 48 episodes or so, which would be nice. But it looks like we're going to be ending a little sooner so we can bring him in. Now, admittedly, this goes back to a timing issue that we had over the last few years where... And we've talked about this before, where the next writer wasn't quite ready, so they had to kind of push stuff out a little bit, which is why Ghost kind of dragged on a bit.
Yeah. But at the same time, I almost feel like maybe this is good for Ex-8's case, because Ex-8 doesn't have to get drawn out any farther.
This is
because
true.
I
This is
totally
true.
feel like they're getting toward endgame right now.
Oh, absolutely.
As far as you can see here near the end of the series. And if they were to draw it out even farther, you would be able to tell.
Yeah.
And it would be really labored, and it would be boring, and you would know they're just trying to create filler. And you can tell right now, really almost no episodes of Ex-8 are filler.
No, thankfully not.
Yeah, this works in Ex-8's favor. I'm concerned about Build. I'm very concerned about Build.
I understand. Now, going into it, we'll see all of these toys, peripheral items go on sale there in September. Nobody's started taking pre-orders just yet. We're waiting on that information. I will most likely get a Build figure right off the bat. I'm going to wait on that driver. Mm-hmm. And for me, that's not usually a good sign. Because last time I waited on a driver was Ghost, and that was with good reason.
I understand, yeah.
So we've got this to look forward to. We still need some more confirmation on what exactly the tone and the plot mean for the series, and if they can give any sort of explanation as to why it seems that they're blending organic and non-organic things together.
But it's just stuff.
But yeah, it does kind of like...
It's just that it doesn't even make logical sense, the stuff that they're combining with other stuff.
No, not really at all. And then Key Dragon over there, I look at
this
that
guy, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
this form for Build. That to me looks like a throwback to Ryu Kendo, which was a lesser known toku from a couple of years ago. Pretty good, but not exactly lasting.
Yeah.
So it seems interesting that they would even make that sort of reference. But that having been said, we'll keep on top of that. We're getting more and more information. We will be getting a press conference pretty soon. We'll start seeing a little bit of footage of him, I imagine, in the openings for Egg's-Aid, since we're getting close. We're about 2 weeks away from the debut of True Ending, where he does have a cameo there in the movie already confirmed.
As they always do with the movies that are at the
few
tail
exceptions.
with the movies that are at the tail end of a given writer's season. So I will just leave this off by saying, if not for the fact that I am the person on Tokusatsu Network who writes up the next episode synopses translations, I wouldn't support this because this is just stuff. I don't want to support Stuff the Guy. I really don't want to.
I will support Stuff the Guy up to a point. He will have to prove himself just like every other writer. I will give him the benefit of the doubt up to a point. But we're going to see sooner than later. I'm
nervous. I'm concerned.
Cool helmet, bro.
I have some concerns.
You have some concerns.
But you do have cool fashion sense.
Yes.
That is all I can give you for right now.
Okay, so let's go ahead and move on with the time we have left to talk about our last bit of information from San Diego Comic-Con today, specifically Netflix's panel.
Yes, so yeah, Comic-Con started basically today.
Yes.
And it's going to go all throughout this weekend. Some stuff has already gone down. We do want to talk about Netflix because that was the most prominent there were a lot of really good drops during the Netflix panel. So lots of trailers for stuff, lots of teasers for stuff.
Yes. So let's go ahead and talk about that as we got it. So first and foremost, we got a first look at Season 3 for Voltron. Of course, the problem there being is that there's no pilot for the Black Lion, and all of the Paladins have to figure out how exactly they're going to defend the galaxy when they're short one man.
Yeah. Well, if you watched the original Voltron,
you kind of know where that's going.
You know how they're going to solve that problem, probably.
Now, I was thinking about this because the logical answer to that lies there in the original Voltron, is that Keith should be the one to go ahead and pilot Black Lion. Mm-hmm. But I'm wondering if we aren't going to get a switch out here, and maybe they'll make Allura the pilot of Black Lion.
Well, obviously Allura's gonna become a pilot.
Yeah,
period.
She will become a paladin one way or another.
Yeah.
But it's just, to me, it's a matter of which line is she going to pilot. I think there's a fair chance she could pilot Black Lion.
Yeah, totally possible. At this point, I'm not really all that concerned about the colors matching up with the suits anymore. Just concerned about, well, she's got to pilot a lion one day. Yeah. That's where they're going with that. Just in case you guys didn't know. I mean, I would say that that's spoilers, except this is still kind of guessing based on previous Voltron.
Yes.
Which has been around for more than 30 years, so catch up.
Yes.
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 Are we going to talk about other stuff?
We also got our first look at Prince Lothar there, who doesn't appear to be very worried since at current he's aware that there is still a vacancy there on the Voltron team. Not too much in the way of humor there in the trailer. We imagine that'll still be a good chunk of the series as it was there in seasons 1 and 2. Mm-hmm. But the other more surprising thing that we have to look forward to is the reveal of the release date, August 4th.
Very soon, yeah.
2 weeks from now, we gonna get it. And it's gonna be good. I can bring out my Voltron robot that I built. Put a lot of money into that. It's over there on the shelf.
Right.
I need to keep him safe so he can keep me safe from the Galra Empire.
Yeah. Yes. Keep him around.
Alright, so that's what we've got on Voltron. We also got a second, well, really a full trailer for this new movie from David Ayer called Bright, which is this kind of blend of modern cop drama and fairy tale fantasy, starring Will Smith and Naomi Rapace from the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo movies. So the idea of this movie is that mystical creatures like fairies, elves, orcs, all have been living with us in harmony for ages. Mm-hmm. And so they're integrated into society, and this one orc, played by Joel Edgerton, is the first orc to serve on the Los Angeles Police Department and is paired up with Will Smith. Mm-hmm. They're out on patrol, and they come across an item that they're not supposed to see around, which is a magic wand, and they're having to go ahead and protect it and its owner from people who want to obtain that power. So this is very, I would argue, high concept for something out of Netflix. We've seen some interesting things out of them, but this is the first thing that I've seen in a while where they got a really big name star like Will Smith
They're throwing
attached.
in a lot of trust.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, it looks very much like it has the budget of something filmed for Netflix, which is to say that's pretty good, because usually Netflix stuff is like it's a little below Hollywood full-blown, full-budget cinema film, but not by much, you know.
Right.
So this looks, cinematically speaking, not so bad. You can, argue whether or not you've liked Will Smith's acting in recent movies over the past few handful of years.
Yeah.
Maybe give it a shot. I'm gonna give it a shot because it's Netflix, and Netflix is putting a lot of trust in a lot of people right now.
Well, because even he was saying there at the panel that, like a lot of people have said, who are working with Netflix, that Netflix is the way to go, and it's not necessarily taking away from the movies. He himself said that he and his family watch Netflix all the time, and they still go to the movies. It's not really detracting. But if you want a story told, you go to Netflix because, as a lot of people have attested to, they'll give you the budget, and they say, go, make your story.
Yeah,
We trust you to tell stories. And that's the thing that I keep hearing over and over again from people who work at Netflix, whether it be The Defenders, which we'll be hearing more about tomorrow, or any of these independent movies that have come up.
I imagine that's...
iBoy or Spectral.
I imagine that's also how Castlevania and now Assassin's Creed are getting off the ground too, is that somebody said, yeah, you can tell that story. And it didn't have to go through the legislation of the studios getting their hands muddy in this script where people would just be like, hey, can we just straight up see an adaptation of this thing we already like? But Hollywood's like, nah, we gotta cater to the casuals. So Netflix doesn't tend to do that.
No, they just let people tell their stories. And that seems to be very much where they're coming from with Bright, which we'll be getting the 22nd of December this year. I'm looking forward to it. I was very interested in the concept when they first announced it, because when you hear Will Smith cop movie with magic wands on Netflix, that's kind of a weird combination.
Well, the first few things you said made sense. Will Smith cop movie.
Yeah, because he's done those.
He's done a couple of those, yeah.
But then you get into magic powers, orcs and fairies, and Netflix, and it's like, that's could be its own thing.
That's where it gets weird, yeah.
That could be its own thing, because then that's Troll Hunters. But then you combine it together, and yeah, that's an interesting combination. And I'm seeing now more and more, you've got big name stars like Will Smith, like Brad Pitt, like Robert Redford, coming to Netflix to do these projects, and they say, no, I was absolutely brought in by the story. I like that they give us the freedom to tell these stories.
Right.
So yeah, looking forward to that. A lot of people very hyped to see this world, seeing gangster elves. Like, that's going to be a thing now.
Yes.
And then, of course, the last bit that we'll talk about was this footage that they showed for Death Note. Now, it is worth noting that at 10 p.m. Pacific tonight, they are having a screening for the first time of the movie there.
Oh,
so
cool.
we should be getting reactions to that very soon.
Yes.
But for the rest of us here who haven't been lucky enough to attend San Diego Comic-Con, they did release some footage of the initial meeting between Ryuk, the Shinigami, the Death God, and Light. So we got a bit of a look at the interplay between them. It's interesting to see how they're treating Light, where he's not nearly as serious as the manga or the anime.
He likes to drop swear words, too.
But this is a rated R movie.
Yeah, yeah.
So I kind of just took that like, oh, okay, yeah, they already signed off on this.
Yeah, well, I figure that's R for violence, not for, oh, now that it's R, we can drop F-bombs because we anime fans are adult and mature like that.
I imagine that's actually part of what it was.
I'm a little concerned about going in that direction. Otherwise, you did have to remind me, yeah, the scene that we see in this little clip seems like just a slight altering to condense the idea of him having to stop somebody getting harassed outside of a convenience store, and
Yes.
it's just been repurposed so that he actually already knows who the people are doing the harassing of somebody out on the street. So at first, for a second, I was like, oh, now he's just trying to stop bullies. No. It is kind of in character. It just feels like the process is a little sped up.
Well, it's an adaptation.
It is an adaptation, and considering it's one movie that's got to be all shoved into one lump thing, it feels like they're speeding it up to also get, what's a Shinigami you just said, isn't it? Ryuk. Get Ryuk in there at the exact same time. in order to get his introduction out of the way too, and we're not wasting time with him just trying to tool around and figure out how to use the Death Note all by himself for a little while.
Right, because, first episode alone, that takes about, 12 minutes to get through, and you need as much time as you can if you're doing this in a movie. Now, all things considered, I was banking on that to begin with, and it looks like an absolute payoff. Willem Dafoe is perfect as Ryuk.
Sure, yeah.
Looking at that face and hearing that voice, it's like, yeah, that's absolutely his voice.
Yeah.
He's always had that voice. What are you talking about? And I appreciate, actually, that for the sake of distinguishing between, say, the live-action movies that we got out of Japan and this one, this looks more like a dude in a suit at points with some CG enhancements, whereas the Japanese version, specifically those movies, it was all CG. Completely CG, Ryuk there, but he looked just like he did in the anime.
Yes.
Here, it's an adaptation, but he's still clearly the same character.
Oh, easily, yeah.
And I do like... It's been a while since I've seen those movies, but they've got this effect on Ryuk's eyes where his irises aren't really irises, it's just kind of a light coming through them, this red light, which is a lot more creepy. And I like that. And I also appreciate that from this clip, it appears that he's not just the guy who puts this power in Light's hand and it's like, do your thing, I'll just watch. No, here he's actually acting like the devil on his shoulder, like, come on.
Go on, do it.
You know you wanna. Like, he's doing peer pressure.
So there, I don't know how I feel about that slight change to Ryuk's character, aside from, I'm just bored. I'm gonna sit back and watch and see what happens. I kind of enjoyed that about him. I'm not totally turned off by this interpretation yet. I have to see how often he's gonna do that throughout the course of this movie.
Well, yeah, because I imagine that was something about his character, is the fact that he's only doing this out of boredom.
Yeah, he's just bored and wants to watch a show. He wants to see a good time.
Now, if he does that completely over the thing, then the audience can potentially turn against him, and the whole thing about it is he's essentially chaotic neutral.
Right.
He just put this in an unsuspecting kid's hands and then watched. But here, if he's a little bit more pushy about it, that'll be one thing. I think it's fine if he gives him an initial push.
Right.
Just so he can taste it and then pulls back.
Yeah, I would agree with that, yeah.
The other thing I'm wondering about is if it does well enough, have they set this up for potential Netflix sequels?
Entirely possible, yeah. I have every sinking suspicion, maybe sinking's not the right word because I'm not scared of this yet. I have every suspicion that they are going to leave this first film a little open-ended to lead into more Netflix films. I totally foresee them doing that.
Because if there's one thing Netflix hasn't done just yet, like they've done several movies with the same person over and over again, like say Adam Sandler, for example, who has a multi-picture deal with Netflix. What they haven't done is serialized movies out of Netflix, because we've got series out of Netflix,
and sequel seasons of things,
but never sequel movies.
I imagine that's just the logical progression, quite honestly. Why wouldn't it be? If after all, Voltron's coming up on season 3 here in a couple of weeks, why would they not then also move into sequel films? I just totally see them doing that.
No, that's entirely possible. But that's what we've got to work with right now. We'll be looking forward to seeing what people say about Death Note once they get out of the screening here in just a few hours. And of course, we've still got a full weekend to go. We've still got all of the panels tomorrow from DC, from all the other people, all the other production studios there at Comic-Con.
We were seeing, just as we were going live, Mattel was having their panel there, along with WWE, because, Mattel produces the WWE's toys, so that was a thing that was going on while we had to get on the air, so just everybody's doing everything at Comic-Con, and we're not there, as usual.
As usual, but we'll have more to talk to you about next week once we get that information.
Yes. I'm taking this away now.
Don't take it away from me. I'm already not there.
Well, that having been said, that's going to be where we're going to have to wrap up the core portion of this episode. If you're here with us live right now, thank you. Please continue to stick around with us for the next half hour so that we can talk to you through our Q&A time. Ask us some questions. We'll give you some answers, whether you like them or not. That's what happens. But if you're not here with us live, if you're watching this sometime later on in the week or whenever you feel like it, then I'm glad you're watching, but I do wish that you would come on down here at 9 p.m. Central on Thursday nights so that you can come and join us for the Q&A session that you otherwise never get to see, and you'll get to hang out with these lovely people and have some really fun conversations and stuff because they're all good dudes and dudettes and bros and...
Broskies?
Broskies. They're good people.
Brodettes?
Brodettes. I like that.
I like that.
I like
Brodette.
brodettes.
Okay.
Okay, we're going with that.
So yes, and during the week you can always talk to us over on social media. On Twitter, I'm at Josh Knight First.
And I'm at Mars Girl.
And that having been said, that's been tonight's episode of Beyond the Black Rims. We'll see you guys again next week.
Bye, everybody!
Say bye, Pigmon.